another Rock Radio USA episode. We are up in the house on a Saturday. It is the weekend. Thank you. And lovely to have a returning guest, everyone, the owner and sound crafter over at Swamp Sound Studios.
Thanks for
the
having
man,
me.
myth, legend, and also Professor Space Boogie himself, John Lee Mick, everyone.
Oh, man, thank you. Yeah, man of many monikers, I suppose, right?
Yes, brother. It's been a minute since you were on the show last. You've been cooking, you've been busy.
A little over a year, right?
A little over a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, brother.
Last February, I think.
Yes. How's the studio?
Good, man. Cranking away. Busy in the best way.
Yes. You've had a good amount of bands come through since you were on the show last as well.
Yeah.
Those deep dives were gnarly well.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 bands, full lengths, a couple of full-length records, things like that. And then a lot of remote mixing and a lot of remote mastering. So, I mean, even if I'm not, like, tracking at home, I'm, firing up all the toys and having some fun.
Love that, bro.
Yeah.
I know we have talked about it, but, having you back on and coming through, for you, brother, what was it like that got you? What made you fall in love with music? Like, what got you started?
It starts really early for me, mostly because of my dad. My dad was always playing good and interesting and, by some people's taste, bizarre music when I was a kid in the car. Everything from like Captain Beefheart to Frank Zappa, Little Feat.
Forever. Yes.
I remember like Grand Funk Railroad and stuff being played a lot. And it really shaped my influences because even like as a little kid, I may not have like understood it or whatever. I'm like, oh, this is old music. Old. As an adult, it's, I love it and appreciate it so much more, and it's shaped who I am and how I, like, approach music in general, So, yeah, mostly, like, little kid. I would say, like, my earliest memories are 3 or 4, being in the car and hearing, like, a beat, and I remember just kind of, like, moving and being like, oh, okay.
You had the boogie in you back then.
Yeah, little kid. I just remember kind of, like, getting down to some music.
Yeah.
But my dad was always recording too.
Oh, that's
as a little guy. I just always remember, mandolins and violins and guitars, drums, basses, and things being in the home. My dad playing them, and he was making recordings with a friend in Dyer, Indiana.
So you really got to grow up around music.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Dude.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, not knowing how it would, like when I was little, like I said, I didn't realize how much it would have influenced me as an adult. It was just always around in the house. So.
That's so awesome, brother.
Yeah.
I love that, man. And it was such a joy to run into you again. Shout out to Underground Lounge.
Yeah.
When you did sound check. Shout out to Joy Friend. Shout out to Throw. Throw came through again. All those bands you had. And, dude, great fucking show. And you fucking crushed.
Thank you, man.
Made us feel welcome. And if anyone's looking for a sound guy, John Lee Mick. Let's go.
Thank you, man.
And since then, you have been, cooking for real.
Cranking.
Real cooking and cranking. And you have a record. A fucking whole ass record. Let's go, man. How did that all start to brew up for you?
Well, I mean, I've been just super busy working on, other people's music for the last 5, 6, 7 years. I did an album maybe about 5 years ago, and, I'd set off camera. I just kind of felt like just because of other distractions, just working on other stuff, I just didn't give it my all. Like, I just kind of, like, gave up almost on some of it.
That's good. But you cared about the other projects you had going on.
Right.
Like you were putting a lot of energy in there.
Yeah, that's kind of where a lot more of my energy went, So this time I had about 2 weeks where I just didn't have anything booked just by chance, right? Just kind of the slow season, winter, And I went in with like no ideas. I had maybe 1 or 2 sessions started in Pro Tools where it was just like a metronome drum track and maybe just like a little keyboard thing, but like nothing really planned out. And I recorded from a Friday to a Friday and somehow came up with 17 like finished songs, like with no ideas.
Friday to Friday, 17 smackers?
Yeah, I mean, an entire week, dude.
It just rolled out then, huh?
Yeah, just lyrics, everything, like 5 and 6 part harmonies, all the weird like vocoder and talk box
What
stuff.
do you think was it that broke you that you just, boom, you were in flow all of a sudden?
I've been listening to a lot of stuff for the last 5-6 years and all these different genres and bands and things that have influenced me. And, I wanted to do something. I knew I wanted to do something, but not necessarily go into it saying, well, I'm going to sound like this, right? Or I'm going to make this kind of song today.
Yeah.
I really just wanted to use my ears, kind of like I did with my clients a lot of times. You know what I mean? In the sense where it's like, instead of trying to be something you're not, I just wanted to let it be what it was. And that's kind of what happened. I started with like metronome, just a metronome and just drums. And, it was like every day I would crank out like 3 songs, basically, start to finish. So by the time, it was dinner time, I was, wrapping up a song. And this is probably getting super nerdy, but the way I track is pretty close to my final mix. I do the cutting to tape mentality where I'm getting the sound I want on the way in. So it's like I mixed it for a week. I listened to it in my car for like half a week and then mastered it, and that was it. The first master is what you hear, like ultimately what I released.
That's awesome.
One pass on the master, and that was
one
it.
take, Jake. The real you caught it in its prime.
It didn't need much by the mastering process. All the work was done, like in the mix. It was already hitting super hot on my 2-track that I bounced to master.
Setup too. Love that studio.
Oh, thank you, dude. Years of obsession. Years, right? But it really just made itself. That was just it. I didn't have any ideas, really. I had a couple of phrases I was throwing around, like the name of the record, The Neoprene Gangster. I was playing around with this idea of like,
Well, first off, where did Professor Space Boogie come from?
Out of necessity. I had played in so many other bands and done things and just nobody, I don't want to say nobody, but it was like, I had been in certain bands, and there just wasn't the same amount of love being put in, and it was just like, I have, at that point it was like, you could record on a laptop, an interface in a laptop. I'm like, I'm going to get a Yamaha board similar to this and just start recording myself. And I don't know. I could have done better on the name. So, hey.
I love the name. I was going to ask,
it.
like, how did you get that? Like, were you gifted with that?
I don't know.
As a nickname?
Well, I just thought it was, I thought it was funny, the idea of recording and like, how technical it is. Like, you're some sort of like, let me straighten up my tie, back in the day in Abbey Road.
Formula.
Well, right. Back in Abbey Road, they would wear lab coats back in the 60s and stuff. I'm not making that up. Look that up. Like the original, like dudes engineering. They took it serious. They were like, oh, we're professionals, and they wear lab coats.
Hell yeah. That's pro.
I don't know. It was just kind of like this, like, kind of like the Neoprene Gangster. It's like this falsehood, right? It's an illusion, right? It's like, I know that I'm not, some intelligent professor guy. I don't have like, credentials and stuff, but like, I can sure pretend I do. A lot of people do.
You're a wizard of a different sort.
Appreciate that.
As you wish.
Yeah.
The alchemy of sound. Like,
Hey, man, it's just like anything else. You put the time, the love in.
Yeah.
The love will come back, right?
For real, man. So for real.
I was frustrated with my recordings for years. Years, and you just kind of start like just diving down that rabbit hole. Every couple of years I would have one of those like aha moments, right? Where I'm like, oh, this makes so much sense.
You were out in Arizona for a hot minute, right?
Yeah, about 5 years on the nose.
And I know you had mentioned you had learned a lot at that time, like when you were out there.
Yeah, because I really started getting interested in analog, specifically maybe about 2017.
Shout out to Treehouse.
Yeah, man. Analog, I don't think there's a right or wrong way. They're just different cups of tea, right? Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with digital doing everything, quote unquote, in the box, right, on a computer. I think plugins are getting really good, man, at emulating analog. Mm-hmm. But anybody that's been doing this a long time, you'll hear similar things, right? Does it make it right or wrong? No. I just find that having analog on the front end, and taking that like tape mentality, treating the computer more like a tape machine rather than like knowing, well, I can go in there and fix whatever. No, man, get it right from the source. Get the performance correct. Mm-hmm. Don't rely on all the digital stuff, right? I find that, there's an inherent characteristic to analog that just can't be captured digitally. Yeah. When you do it on the front end, like you use an analog desk, and the flexibility too. How are you going to make 6 individual headphone mixes? I just want to hear kick drum in my headphones for the band on your DAW and bog down your computer, and the latency issues. And dude, analog, you turn a knob and it goes. You want to hear more kick drum? Here you go. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
That tape to reel.
Yeah, man.
Tape to reel feel.
Yeah.
Warm, dude.
And I do like using tape. It's just nobody wants to pay for it. Yeah. I'll be honest, it's expensive. Yeah. Like quarter
really
inch.
Pricey.
Very pricey. Yeah. Like even to do just like a quarter inch master, I mean, it's $110 a reel. Yeah. Or if you want to do 16 or 24 track, like Ampex 456, 420, I don't know. It's probably up to $420 a reel. Yeah. Now, and it's like, what, 30, 35 minutes you get out of it? Yeah. Depending upon your tape speed, like your inches per second.
Gnarly, yo.
Yeah.
So I'm happy you gained some knowledge, man. You fucking, for real. And what brought you back to Chicago?
What's that?
What brought you back to Chicago?
It was about a year ago, about the time I was doing, gigs at Underground Lounge. I was just contracted, dude. So, like, they wanted full-time staff, totally understandable. Like, the gig just dried up. That happens, right? No harm, no foul, right? One door opens, another one closes, right? True. So I was like, well, I miss being up here in the city. I miss the vibe, people 10 or 15 years younger than me just doing it. How it is, dude. Dudes in their early 20s are always pushing the boundaries of music and art and right? I love it.
So awesome.
And that was a big draw for me. And then, kind of realizing that there are a lot of really, really, really good studios here in the city.
Chicago is popping.
Yeah, there's so many good studios, so many good engineers. And, I'm finding that it's a very small community of guys. But, like, once you kind of know a few guys and kind of get a little bit of a reputation for yourself, like, not even that you're a good engineer, but just that you know how to operate their setup. Like, I won't mention studio names, but, I mean, it's like they're all kind of the same. Like, you go in. You have a big analog desk, and it's like if you've been doing it a long time, you can say, okay, let me just look at the patch bay for like 5 minutes and see how you have everything routed. Let me see what gear you got, how you have it set up, your monitor path. There's really only a couple of like check marks, right? If you know what you're doing. Where do you put the drums in the room? Where do you get the best sound? Always ask the intern. Where do they put the drums in the room?
Pro tip.
Yeah, man. Well, I learned that one
here first
from Warren Hewart. So, yeah. But no, I mean, they're all kind of laid out the same as long as you know where the box of inputs is and everything in the patch bay is labeled correctly. You're up and running, man. You just plug in what mic you want. And, a lot of the rooms that I would freelance out of or have, I know exactly what I want to do. I know what mics they have. I know exactly what I want to do when I get in there. There's no really messing around.
You know what's up. That's awesome, brother.
Just practice, experience. It's just like anything else, man.
Yeah.
Like playing guitar.
Yeah.
You put the time and the effort in. And
well, I'm happy you came back to the Midwest to rock out the jams, yo. And
yeah,
congratulations on the studio and, getting that all running for yourself. Swamp Sound Studios up and running and over across the way now, Indiana, right?
Yep, over in Porter County, Valparaiso, but
just a drive away, but not too bad.
No, not even. Yeah. And like the thing is too, I like to make records, right? That's kind of what I want to do. Right, is make records. That's what I'm into. And I think when you book me, you're getting kind of that experience of an all-in producer. You know what I mean? Somebody that depending upon what you're looking for, right? I kind of know what lanes to stay in too. It's like, if you want, I can have every hand in the production, from setting up the mics, getting the drum sounds, a little bit of creative input, I think you could do that vocal take better. That kind of stuff. Not even like, I think it sucks. No, I mean like, I know you can do better. Kind of, someone said it to me like being like a cheerleader almost in a way as a producer. But I can see it all the way from setting up the mics to mastering it, and the other thing too is I know being in Porter County is like a deterrent sometimes. It's far away. It's like, dude, just hop on the South Shore. Like, I'm 20 minutes from a South Shore stop. I'll pick up a band. Take them out for lunch. Dude, I don't care. There's so many good places to go eat, places to shoot music videos. Like, come on out. Let's make a record.
I really appreciate what you're doing, and I really love the studio space. And even, like I said, having you as an audio engineer, you were so warm and welcoming and, like, letting us know how it was. And couldn't recommend you enough. Like, even when you had me and Tommy come through, like, recording at the studio, you just, like, laid out just, like, everything so... It was simple, but you like let us know what was up. The vibe was immaculate. Like, it was such a fun time. And
cats running around.
Dude, it was so goofy, man. So
thank you, man.
To all Chicago, for real, if you're looking for a place to record, Swamp Sound Studios, for real.
I got you.
DIT Shy. It's what's up.
I'll see it through to the end, and again, I think going back to being an all-in producer, like knowing what you want, right?
Yeah,
it's like,
for sure.
I could play drums on your track if you want. If you hate it, I'll hire another drummer.
Heard
you know what I mean?
First. Don't forget it.
Like,
Man, and you're slick behind the kit.
Oh, thank you, brother. It's my first instrument. So,
dude, how did y'all stand back? Start.
Oh, yeah, dude. Idea? That was probably the first track I actually did on the album, and it was just like that idea of like, I haven't done a record in 5 years.
5 years, yo.
And I was like, y'all stand back, dude. We're about to get started.
It's real.
Yeah. And the other aspect of the record too that is totally inherent in this song is the idea of the neoprene gangster. It's like delusions of how gangster you used to be. Like, as you get older.
You and your skateboard?
Well, I still skate, Yeah, man, we still skate. I get out there, I get it. But no, like, you look back at your youth and, like, as you age, those memories get more and more distorted and exaggerated. You know what I mean? And it's like, in my mind, I feel like I was so much more gangster than I actually was. And parts of the record revolve around that idea, that realization, like, oh, dude, I'm getting old. I have a couple of gray hairs, God, I'm not gangster anymore. But I think I am, I still think I'm gangster. Yeah. So it's like, awesome. It's about like, delusions of gangsterhood. Yeah.
Dude, mean. I love it.
Well, I didn't want to take myself serious, and I'm not gonna name anybody, but it's just like, certain artists that take themselves like super serious. Like, you can't say anything. They're like, I'm offended. It's like, come on.
It could be like that sometimes.
Come on.
Yeah.
People are gonna interpret your music how they want to interpret it.
Dude, I love what you said. We bring it up all the time on the show. Like, there is no right or wrong way. Like, that was one of the most freeing things to hear.
It's art.
Like, it's an art. Dude.
It's art. Even recording, because my philosophy when it comes to recording and making records, is that there's technique.
Yeah.
There's certain principles, right? I think I said this on the last one.
High end's got to go.
Yeah, just roll it all off. You don't need it. No, but like, in all seriousness, though, there's techniques, there's principles, and it's like, once you understand those, how you apply that, that's where the art comes in. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you can know the techniques or principles. Well, I'm going to do it completely wrong for a stylistic, quote unquote, wrong, right? For stylistic, you know. I mean, there's a lot of engineers that, you know, myself, a lot of my peers look up to. They were just kids when they started. They didn't know what they were doing and just threw mics up and hoped for the best. And, you know, some of those techniques have become techniques that we use today.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
So I'm all about experimenting. It's art. At the end of the day, like music, it's art.
Yeah.
You know?
I love that quote, man. It is art.
It is.
There is no right or wrong way to do it.
Not at all.
So with that being said, on this experimental explosion of a record you had been cooking, what was your favorite song to create?
It hasn't come out yet. It's the 5th track on the record.
Okay.
There's a song, it's called Girl, You Rock My World. And that's about my wife. You know, it's just kind of like, you know, we've been together like 17 years. And like, I just remember the first time I saw her, it was like, whoa, who's that? You know what I mean? Like
17 years?
Yeah. 17 years. We just celebrated.
Wow, brother.
Like,
congratulations.
She's going to kill me. I think, 4 years of marriage? 5 years?
Congrats.
4 years of marriage. And,
That's awesome.
you know, been together 17, so it was about her.
Cool. That's a slapping song.
The record comes out next week, next Friday, May 9th.
Next Friday, you
May
heard
9th.
it here first. Yep.
May 9th.
Midnight, May 9th.
Yep.
That's awesome, brother. Can't wait. Well, I think this is probably a perfect time to break away. We could rock out, do the musical portion,
Yeah?
and then we could come back and do the roundup. But until then, everyone, John Lee Mick, links below. Check out Swamp Sound Studios. And new record coming in next Friday. Be ready to space boogie.
Some boogies.
Love, rock forever. Over the cattle, over the wire trail, over the girly pants. I wear girl pants every day. Over the friendly nights. Welcome to the show. USA!
I keep it neat and free. I got the keys to me. I keep it neat and free. I got the keys to me. I keep it neat and free. I got the keys to me. I keep it neat and free.
And hello and welcome back, y'all, to Rock Radio USA.
Rock Radio.
John Lee Mick, yes, Professor Space Boogie is up in the crib on a Saturday. Rocking out. It's fun doing the day show.
Yeah,
You
man.
know, like we usually do it at night, so this is a nice change of pace.
I like.
And man,
I like days.
I needed my shades on. That was woo bright, yo. You rocked it. Major groove.
Thank you.
Fucking love it, dude. I love the setup and everything. You really brought the full experience.
Thank
Full
you.
John Lee Mick experience. I love
Yeah, I mean, you're your own sound guy, your own bass player, drummer, light guy.
it. One of my best friends, shout out to Treehouse Records, shout out to Barrett. One of the things he always would say is, and I hate it, but he'd always be like, if you want anything done right, you have to do it yourself. It's like,
Amen to that.
It's
No, and that's the truth.
I know.
I mean, it really is,
I hate
dude.
it though. Yeah, it's
If you're someone who is as particular as I am, when it comes to my own thing, it is selfish. I kind of want just that
yeah.
full control. Over what I'm hearing. And I guess that goes back to I'm bringing professional studio monitors as my monitoring.
Dude, I love it. Dude.
It's like
You did not. Yeah, no stops.
I don't know.
All out, dude. I love it. That's real, man. For real. Like I know Zappa, man. He was strict. I know he's one of your influences
big
as
time.
well.
Big time.
But you gotta have that. You gotta know what you want. You gotta drive it. to
Oh,
that
you
point,
nailed
know?
it, man. Because there's those legends of he put the musicians through it for 8, 9, 10 hours, And he'd be like, all right, we'll take a 5-hour break. They're like, huh? I remember Steve Vai talking about it. He's like, it takes me an hour just to get back to my apartment. Leaves me 3 hours just to like sleep.
Yeah.
And they go back, and Frank had still been there in the studio working the whole time while they went and took their break. You know, and it goes back to like, I did a record with a band recently. Shout out Gearheart.
Shout out.
Yeah, man, they got a full length coming out. The first session we did together, dude, I'm not making this up, 17 hours. 17-hour session. I was there for 18 or 19. Set up, tear down.
17 straight?
17 hours straight of tracking, man. And we finished 3 songs in one day. Like, just, I mean, like, the drums, the bass, like, quad tracked all the rhythm guitars and stuff. And, like, all the solos and the leads. Yeah. Yeah. I put in the work, man. You know? I mean, I will put in the work, I guess. Is how to say it, right?
Yeah. And you want to, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing. Like, you fucking love it, man. I could hear it in the boogie, so it's fucking worth it, too.
Oh, yeah. Like,
sure.
I won't hesitate. Like, if I'm enjoying it, man, I'll do a 17, 20-hour session. I don't care.
Yeah.
I love it.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about the record. What's coming out?
Oh, mine or Gearheart's, or just in general?
Yours.
Mine? So, yeah, I mean, it's 14 tracks. I started with 17, whittled it down. It's 14 tracks, about 50 minutes long. When it releases, there will be a video to correlate with it. So there is an hour of video, 50 minutes or whatever to go along with it as well, which is pretty cool. But, I mean, I did everything myself, from live, real drums with very, very, very minimal editing. I mean, like, okay, I whacked a rim on a tom fill. Okay, I sampled a tom here and there, but nothing like, crazy. I didn't go in and beat doctor my drums and time align everything. I like organic feels. I like when bands play live.
Rock.
Yeah, I just didn't feel a need to, like, doctor it too much. So, like, when you listen to the record, it's, the drums are pretty well live. I mean, that's what I played. The bass, guitar, most of the tracks, the synths, everything. I just played them straight through. Minimal cut, copy, and pasting on the vocals as well. I really just tried to sing them all the way through and get them right. And the other thing, too, is there's really no auto-tune on the record either. Like, I did it... the second track is blatantly auto-tuned, like on purpose, right? Like one of those where it like modulates pitch and like is an effect. But I didn't go through and auto-tune all the vocals either.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, I just want to get it right. Like they used to, man. Like you listen to like Boston or something. I don't know. They didn't have auto-tune.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
They had to get it right.
To think that no auto-tune or anything, like that's just pure.
Yeah, pretty raw.
It's
and if you were to pull up the Pro Tools sessions, I mean, the most amount of effects that are getting used are for like some wild effect, like on purpose, like you know what I mean? Like, I want this thing to spin around the room, kind of, just something crazy. I didn't go nuts like EQing or compressing or any of that in the computer. It just didn't need it.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it was just like cutting frequencies, more or less, managing frequencies.
Awesome.
So it's a raw, it sounds like a 70s record, man. Yeah. I don't know how else to put it.
And the official drop again? Date?
May 9th. So
May 9th,
on the filming of this, it's,
here.
6 days from today?
Okay.
If you count today.
Yes.
So
May 9th. It's dropping.
Man.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
All streams.
Yep.
And how did the visual component come? That's awesome that you made a video. That's so cool.
Oh my goodness. Like my dad and my brother and me, we always like, for whatever reason, we would just always cut people out of like magazines and newspapers and messing with stuff. And I remember my dad.
Collaging?
Yeah.
Dude,
I remember my dad erasing people's eyes in magazines and stuff. So it's just like white, just like white where their eyes used to be. It started real young, just making collages, and I don't know, man.
Shout out to collages real quick.
shout out to collages, man, yeah. But like, I don't know, man. I I knew I needed to do something for the record, like a cover.
Yeah.
And that's where it started, was I started making all these bizarre people for like promo videos. Like there's a lady that's like a chicken nugget. And she's got like asparagus arms and stuff. And yeah,
What?
like I start cutting people out of magazines and newspapers and just like
Yes.
start taping stuff together and
Yeah.
writing weird stuff.
Mhm.
And dude, it just wound up being like, it started as promo for the 2 singles that came out. Everybody Party Time, Shake Your Butt. I know it's a mouthful. And then Y'all Stand Back. It started like just as like promo videos, and then I just kept going. I just kept going. I'm like, oh,
Do you have
hey.
a whole plan on TikTok rolled out?
I don't do the TikTok.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Like, but
I
you're gonna
don't.
slowly
I don't
roll out.
I don't ticky or talkie. I got
YouTube though.
I got a grandfather clock that TikToks.
There you go.
Ooh, that
I
rhyme.
like it.
I
Yeah.
got a grandfather clock that go ticky tock.
I like that you're teasing, and like you're dropping it like with some rhythm, before just like you're not just like boom. It's
Yeah,
all out.
yeah. I don't want to
It's-
just full force
Yeah.
in your face. And I felt it was good too before I do a live performance to just kind of let the record like permeate out there a little bit. You know what I mean? And
real.
see like what the feedback is. Because I may only do one performance for it, and that's it.
Yeah.
You
Cool.
know.
I was
Might
just
be it.
gonna ask that, but hell yeah. So this is the one performance
That
right
might,
now.
that might be it. I mean,
Go.
if there really is, I mean, let's be honest. Like, I don't foresee like a demand for a second show or anything like that.
Mhm.
But I mean,
I don't know.
if there was, I mean, I might do one in the fall. But
Mhm.
as of now, I mean, the
Comment
plan
below.
is
What do
really
you think,
to,
y'all?
yeah, drop a comment, like, subscribe. Like the algorithm, man.
Mhm.
The algorithm.
Terrible.
It's the algorithm. But no, in all seriousness,
Can't
though.
algorithm rock and roll, motherfuckers.
Man, the algorithm, it's got me out of my mind. No, but in all seriousness though, I mean, if I don't know, I mean, if there's some sort of feedback, I might do another show.
Hell
But
yeah.
as of right now, it's just kind of the one. And I just I plan to just kind of get out and start DJing more or less.
Dude, I'm so excited to just see you flip records and DJ it
Actual
up, fucking
records,
back and
dude.
forth. Pizza party too, man. Me and
Pizza
Tommy,
party!
We're coming with a
Hey, free
full
pizza.
stomach, man. I'm not gonna eat for 2 days. And I'm gonna
Shout
show
out
up.
Langle's Pizza. You guys get ready. I'm gonna give you a call, man. I'm gonna start.
Yes.
If you're from Northwest Indiana,
Yes.
man, Langle's Pizza, man. They won a lot. 4 years in a row? Best pizza in the region?
That's the real
Yeah.
deal, man.
Yeah.
How many times has Pequods won? Once-
At
once,
least,
twice.
12.
At least 12. Hit and miss, right? I think it's location based. Sorry, guys. Just being the truthful. Different locations. But yeah, I'll have the pizzas coming, depending upon demand. So they're already, I already gave them a shout out. So it's like, we need more. We'll have it stocked.
Love it, brother.
Pizza party.
I love asking as well, and I do want to ask you again while you're on the show, like for any artists out there, people that would like to get creative or like maybe even songwrite or try to form a band. Like, is there any advice or any, tips you'd throw their way, suggest?
Well, shout out to my dad again. I read a book a while back called Think and Grow Rich.
You
And-
wrote it?
Read. Did I say wrote? Did
I
it come
love
out as
that
wrote?
book.
Did it
That-
come out as
dude,
wrote? Because I didn't write it.
My bad. That book's amazing. Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, yeah,
Get
so you've read
Nasty
it
and
too?
Rich forever.
Well, I think my
Yes.
biggest takeaway was like surround your people.
I love that.
surround yourself with people that you want to be around or you want to be
voice, too.
like.
Mm-hmm.
Surround yourself with people that think like you do. And once you find your people, man, I feel like the sky's the limit. And that was the hardest part for me moving back from Arizona, right? It was
Yeah.
like, where are my people? Where were all the engineer nerds? Where are the guys that want to nerd out about, all the revisions of different microphones and stuff? You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm finding my people, man. And it's one of
Nice.
those things, like I said earlier, it's a small group, right?
Yeah.
I feel like once you you get in there a little bit, get a little bit of a reputation, people know you're not full of it. Because I always say talk is cheap, too. That's the other advice I'd say, right? Just show people what you can do.
For real.
Like I could talk all day about gear and this and that and this and that and this and that, but all that really matters, like when it comes to
What do you do?
engineering,
Yeah.
is what comes out of the speakers. You know what I mean? And same with it being a musician, man. It's just all about what you can do, right? And how you can hang in a band.
So what's your take then? Is tone real?
Tone? Well, you're going down a
real.
rabbit hole there. If we're talking guitar, okay, I can sum this up quick. I can sum this one up fast. If you're playing an acoustic guitar, yes, tone wood has an effect, right? Different woods, different shapes, things are going to affect the tone of the guitar. If you're talking a solid body guitar, bass, whatever, I'm not going to say the only thing that matters, but the most important variable in your signal is the speaker. The speaker is going to color your tone or sound more than anything else. And Glenn Fricker proved this on his Spectre Sound Digital. Shout out. Learned a lot about recording metal guitar from Glenn. Dude, your speaker's everything. It doesn't matter if it's clean guitar. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's studio monitors. The speaker, it's the ultimate filter. That's the last thing in the signal path, right? That's converting electrical energy into some sort of audible source. You know?
What about the tone knob on an actual guitar? Like, what does that knob do?
Well, it changes the tone.
Yeah, so can you explain that for us?
Well, it's an attenuator, and it attenuates different frequencies, and just kind of it's like a sweep. That's all I got.
In English,
Dude.
please.
That's all I got.
Tone. Looking
No.
for the truth
No,
here
for real,
on
though.
The Rock.
There's so many
Not
things that'll
looking
affect
good
tone.
for Team Tone.
Hey,
I
there's things.
think.
Hey, pickups affect your tone. I mean, running a fuzz pedal.
Yeah.
I mean, all this stuff's gonna affect your tone, right? But like the
What
ultimate
I will
filter
say
is the
is,
speaker.
it may
What does tone mean to
exist.
you?
There might be absolutely a different
I'm not sure.
color or shading to the actual audio you're hearing through the ear, but I will say that I think overall it's the energy.
Right.
And even when people are talking tone, it's like a little bit still mixes with like, how does it feel? Like, how
agree.
does it, like, how is it making you as a human, like, react? Or like, what kind of emotion is it evoking? That's tone itself.
Well, right. I mean,
know?
because they're all just frequencies bouncing around in a room, being picked up by our ears, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you touch on something real interesting, just about like how much power, for instance, there is in bass frequencies.
Damn.
How you can vibrate things and make things shake.
Yeah.
You feel it. No, I mean, there's some definite.
This came up on the Zukas Kirk episode,
like science
they
to
maybe
that,
lifted stones with frequencies and stuff.
Well, I won't go too deep into my personal philosophies, but for anybody interested, I mean, I think there is an alternative history, in terms of, when you stand there and you look at certain things, certain places, objects, buildings, and you have native tribes
to
saying,
Tartaria.
we didn't build it. We just kind of found it. I've seen things with my own eyes, and I'm like, how did they build this? It's
no
just
way.
so far beyond what we, the cultures we attribute to building them. They said they didn't build them themselves, I think there's some weight and some truth to that, perhaps certain monuments were built using acoustics and acoustic resonance and, I don't know the
Even
science.
with that in mind, like
I don't know the
building
science
actual
of it,
design,
right?
Yeah.
But so I mean, I could sound like a hack, but you know what I mean, like vibrating things to their resonant frequency, right, and vibrating it down to the molecular level.
Yeah.
I
I could see it, man. They carved those cathedrals to a T. Like, it's very detailed.
There's
like,
some
you can-
interesting structures, on the planet,
There really is, man.
Angkor Wat, like the Bosda Caves.
Yeah.
There's just some really interesting.
Yeah.
you
So
know, Pumapunku.
T1, right? Tone is the truth of one. It's
Yeah,
the it's the all one, dude. Energy.
Yeah, let's just say tone. Tone is energy.
Drop the
It's
mic.
power.
Yeah.
Tone is power.
For real.
But
And the boogie, you bring the power, man. I can't wait for the show. I can't wait for the full release. And
well,
it's-
words aren't
it's
power
all
till
exciting.
spoken.
yeah.
Words
real,
are power till spoken.
Well, thank you, brother. I cannot thank you
I love you
enough for
guys.
coming through again.
Hey, these
on
guys
the-
rip. They're the
Yeah,
best.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, just, man, the best dudes.
Yes. Appreciate you. Everyone, link below. Please, if y'all ain't doing anything on Saturday, June 21st, this year, 2025, at 9 p.m., album release party. That's right.
man.
It's going to be we got Finnegan's Pub. See y'all there. Until then, peace, love, rock and roll.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Thank you, brother. Oh.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Over the wire track. Over the girly pants. I wear girl pants every day. Over the friendly nights. Welcome to the show. Rock Radio USA.